So now the only two things we need to do is set a border on the top and the bottom and add some drop shadow. Let's start with the border. Now, one way to get the color of this border is to use a color picker and set the value explicitly. But SASS gives us some nice tools for creating relative colors. So we can use built-in functions like lighten or darken in order to use one color as a base and lighten or darken based on that. That way, if we change the base color later, say for example we change this to a red button, the other colors will darken or lighten based on that base color, so we don't have to change them. So let's start with the top border. We'll do border top, and we're going to use the function lighten. We'll pass it the color green, and then we're going to add a percentage for how much we want to lighten it. Let's start at 20% just to see what it looks like. And then we'll set the size to 1 pixel and the style to solid. We'll save this, go back to the browser and refresh. All right, so when we refresh this, we get the lighter border up here, but it looks a little bright, which means it's too saturated. But I'm curious what this looks like on a dark background. So why don't we put this button in the context where this one is found inside of the slide component. So let's go back to our index.html file, and I'll do a search in here for slide. Okay, it's right here. Let's cut this and bump it to the top, and we'll put it beneath our button image here, and we'll cut our button out, and I'm just gonna slap it on the top so we can see it a little closer to the image. We'll save this and refresh. Okay, so on a dark background, that doesn't look as gaudily bright. Let's add the dark border on the bottom and see what that looks like. So we'll jump over to our CSS, and I'm gonna copy this border top property here, and we'll just change a couple things about it. So we're gonna change it to border bottom. Instead of lighten, we'll use darken, and we'll leave everything else the same. We'll save it and refresh, and it's a little hard to tell, but it does have a dark border on the bottom. If we zoom in, we can see that right here. But it does seem maybe a little too dark. Let's try changing it to 10% here and refresh. Let's zoom back out, and now it looks a little too light. So let's go with 15% and refresh. All right, so I still feel like this top is a little bright, but it's not bad. It still allows this button to pop out a bit, which is the main function of that top and bottom border. So we'll leave it as is for now. So now if we want to make sure that the background color and the border top and border bottom are all connected with the same color, and we only have to define the color once, what we can do is set a variable for the color of our button. So let's set it at the top here, and we'll call it color, and we'll set it to our green variable. And now the rest of the places where we use green, now let's use color. So I'm going to paste it in here, here, and here. If we refresh the browser, we shouldn't see any changes. But now if we change the color here to say red, and we go back to the browser and refresh, you'll see a lighter red border on the top and a darker red border on the bottom. If we changed it to purple and refresh the browser, we'd see those other colors adapting. Nice. All right, let's go back here and go back to green by clicking undo a couple times. We'll refresh in the browser,